The last 5 months have probably been the most difficult season in my business ever. Um, I'm pretty sure that there were many, many times where I wanted to stop doing this. I wanted to go start teaching again. Like I have a degree in education. I could go be a teacher tomorrow. I wanted to go do anything other than being a reseller because it was just getting increasingly and increasingly difficult, and I didn't know what I should do in order to fix it. I couldn't figure out what was wrong, and fortunately, we're at the upswing of this journey, but I'm going to try to effectively explain to you guys where I've been and what I've been going through for the last several months. And hopefully, on the tail end of that, you'll understand kind of a bit of what it was like for me journey wise, and how do we end up here. So, I have a lot of notes. I have a lot of notes, 3 pages of notes that I handwritten. They were handwritten. I didn't need to handwrite them. I could have just typed it and talked to you guys. But I'm going to have to look at the notes because we're talking about several months of information. So I'll be looking at the notes and then explaining what I have here. And then while I'm doing that, we can hopefully have a clear story for you. So this all began because I lost my supplier. So I was working with a company, and I was able to get a significant amount of shoes from them. And while I was working with that company, I was also able to get clothing as well. All right. So whenever I'd buy a bunch of shoes, because I'd buy, $300, $400, $500, $600 in shoes, maybe even more than that, I could also get clothing, and it just get attached onto my price basically. So I dropped $600, and then if I wanted, a couple of clothing pieces too, I could just throw those in there and they just get attached to my thing. So I was getting clothing for free. Now, there was a scenario that happened where I was, getting the clothing as well, and things had changed. I wasn't able to get it the same way as I was beforehand. It wasn't like a part of my deal. It was instead like it had to be added to it, and I had to get everything individually. Now, the way I picked these pieces of clothing, they were good items, but not necessarily good items if I had to buy them on their own. Like, they were just like a good addition, a supplement, kind of like if you had a shoe business and you're able to get socks really cheap with your shoes. It'd be worth it for you, but if you had to just pay $10 for a pair of socks, it might not be worth it. Now, I guess a better example would be like, you get what I'm saying. So I ended up, when that price changed on that clothing, I decided, hey, I'm just not gonna buy any of this stuff then. So I put like half of it back, and I kept the other half. And due to that, when I came back the next week, everything was done. I wasn't able to buy any inventory. It was almost like I was like blacklisted for some reason. And I'm like, what happened? Like, what's going on? And I didn't really get a clear answer. I didn't understand, but I was like, okay, cool. I don't care. Like, I've been fired before, so we're just gonna rock and roll and go figure something else out. As soon as that happened, I contacted a different supplier with a different company and was like, yo, I need bulk inventory. And that person said, easy, say less. You know what I mean? And I got into contact with some higher ups, so like the people who she knew that would allow me to be able to get bulk from this company. And at that time, I had been buying a lot of pairs from the flea market. So I was able to use some of those pairs I was buying from the flea market to help me like get some of my money back, because there were pairs I was buying for like $15 or so, and I could sell them very, very quickly for like 30. So I would be able to get some of my money back and then use that money in order to go buy pallets of inventory. Now, the inventory that was in the pallets was significantly lower quality than like the stuff I'd get from the flea market, from the stuff I'd get from, the original company, as well as stuff I'd get from like, let's say my local thrift stores like Goodwill, Salvation Army, stuff like that, right? I would go there and the quality was a lot lower, but the price was significantly lower too. Because in general, I was paying somewhere between $8 to $10 per pair, give or take. And if I was at the flea market, I'd be paying somewhere between $15 to $20 per pair. Sorry, $12 to $20 per pair, really depended on which vendors I was going to. But at this place, I'm getting pairs for under $1. So I'm like, this is a beautiful opportunity. As long I'm pretty good at processing shoes. If I can process shoes that I buy for $1, sell for 15, even at minimum $15, then I should be able to make ridiculous amounts of money. And there were unlimited amounts of pairs. They had more pairs than I would even be able to process. So I was like, this is a beautiful opportunity. If I'm getting this stuff for $1, this gives me the opportunity to test out Wonder Nation. This gives me the opportunity to test out Time and True and all these other brands that I've never been able to try before because I can't buy them for $5 at Goodwill. And I never even like saw them at the other place that I got fired from at the beginning of this. So I was like, okay, I have a theory. What if, when it comes to brands specifically, what if people that are buying items on eBay aren't actually searching for the brand? What if they're looking for like women's size 7 shoes and then they end up coming across a pair of Nikes or across a pair of Adidas, something like that? Because I sell a bunch of models that I don't think anyone's necessarily searching for, but they ended up buying them, right? Because like no one's looking for like Asics Gel Kayano 21 specifically. And maybe there are a subset of people who are looking for those, but it's not the overwhelming majority of people who are buying them are looking for that specifically. So I don't think that theory is the case anymore, but we have to go through the rest of the story to figure it out. But that was my thoughts. I was like, maybe I can get people to buy these lower tier brands if I can have them priced competitively, because I've always been really, really good at selling items. We started breaking down 4 pallets a week, every single week. And it was a lot of shoes, a lot of effort. It was tough. But the first pallet that I bought, guys, had teaks in it. They had 2 pairs of teaks in it. They had some really nice, pairs of Nikes and things of that sort. So I'm like, man, this is good. Like this is really good stuff. Like if I'm able to make this work, then I could have an amazing business here. And I got like 800 pairs of shoes or something on that first set of 4 pallets. Now, here's the problem. 800 pairs of shoes is more pairs of shoes than I can list. That's over 100 pairs a day. So like I would have to turn my game up massively to be able to do that. And that's what we did. On my calendar right here, it has us, we have some days where we're listing 70, 80 pairs, Most of the time we were trying to list 40 to 60 pairs, but at some times we're able to list even higher than that. But things were looking good. First month in April, we did $17,000 in sales. I think we started this in March. And then in April, we did $17K in sales. Our ASP took a bit of a hit, but we were able to do our ASP was around $24, $23, $24 because we had that connection with this other company. And that company was able to give us shoes for around $4 a pair, right? And then I would go to Goodwill and get shoes for around $8 to $9 a pair, give or take. And then finally, I would go to the flea market and buy shoes for $10 to $20 a pair. But since I didn't have that connection with the other company anymore, and, I didn't want to go to Goodwill because I have this really cool pallet source that can let me get pairs for $1 a piece. So, like, why buy pairs for $9, $12, $15 when I can buy them for $1? Every pair that I buy for $15, I could buy 15 pairs. And even if those 15 pairs were at $5 profit each, I make more money than I would if I sold one pair that I bought for 15 and make $20 profit or $30 profit. You get what I mean? However, what I don't realize is that you still need to process 15 times as many pairs in order to make that same amount of money. Whatever. Not the same amount of money, but more money or whatever. You get it. You get what I'm saying. Now, because of this, I didn't have time to make videos. I was trying to figure out how can I list, 40, 50, 60, 80 pairs of shoes per day, every single day, and it's very hard to do that. And I wasn't able to do that successfully, It got to the point where I'm like, man, I'm actually hating our lives right now. And Mariah, our schedule looked like we'd wake up at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and then we'd work until 2 a.m. every single day. It'd be 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. And there were some inefficiencies in our systems, of course, but to do 80 pairs of shoes is going to be a lot of work for 2 people, And the way how we split it was she'd do a lot of the cleaning, or actually it'd be like if we had to do 60 that day, I would clean 40 and she would clean 20, or she would clean 40 and I would clean 20, and then I would proceed to do the photos and listings in both of those scenarios. So we started to notice though, because in April our ASP was 2049, but then in May our ASP was 1930. So our ASP was falling and our net sales were starting to fall too. And at that same time, we started hearing about like summer slowdown is coming. It's about to be, really, really rough for resellers out there. Like beware. And we wrote on our wall, there is no summer slowdown. Like we were like, nah, there's not going to be a summer slowdown for us. As long as we're increasing our output, as long as we're doing what we're supposed to do, we should be good. That's not what happened though. Like I said, we did 17K in April, but in May we did like 15, like 14.7. And that's abnormal because usually in May we usually have a bit of a uptick in sales. Maybe we should go from like 17 to 19, but that didn't happen. And our ASP started going down more and more and more. And I didn't know what to do. So once we made it to June, things started getting a little bit worse. Although we sold more pairs and our net sales were higher, our store was around 2,100 items and we were selling like 800 items a month. So we were moving inventory. Almost 50% of my inventory was being sold every single month, which is telling me, dude, the STR is really, really good. Like this stuff is moving. So if this stuff is moving, it can't be bad inventory. It can't be that I'm buying pallets of inventory, that I'm buying pallets. That's why my sales are suffering. There's no way. And like, I don't know if you guys have ever felt this before, but like there's this feeling of not having money. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm feeling this. We should have money. We should feel like we're making a bunch of money. Our cost of goods is lower than it's ever been. Like I'm below $1 cost of goods, like for thousands of pairs of shoes. How is it possible that we feel like we have no money? So I end up dropping from 4 pallets a week to 2 pallets a week. And it's getting harder and harder and harder to afford these shoes that I'm buying for $1 each. Now, at the same time, I did also have thousands of shoes at this point. I'm having like 2,500 shoes, 3,000 shoes, 4,000 shoes. The number is getting higher and higher and higher. And I'm not able to process all of them. So maybe that's why, like maybe it's because you have so much of your inventory in these shoes that are not quite listed yet. I don't think that's fully the case, but that is a part of it. One, we couldn't keep up with the amount of volume that we were doing. So if you think of it as $1 a pair and we have 2,000 shoes, that's $2,000 that's just sitting in my store that I can't use and turn into more money. But even still, we were still listing hundreds of pairs per week. So we shouldn't have this much of an inconvenience. The other problem was the actual price that these pairs are being listed at. After things started falling apart, I looked at the average listing price for my items and I noticed that number was $12. So I was on average listing items for $12. We're doing all that work, all that effort, and we're getting $12 start price, which means that the item sells, we're selling it for $10, $9, $8, $7. If we're selling it for $10, $9, $8, $7, then we're gonna make what? $3, $4, $5 profit per pair? Like that's not enough money to like do anything serious with. And this is where things get bad. You see, if you're selling 800 pairs a month, you can survive. You can make it. But what if that summer slowdown thing ends up being real? Like what if your sales slow down when you're the sell through rate king, right? And like you're crushing it, making $5, $6, $7, $8 per pair. I think our actual profit was like $8 to $9 per pair or so. You're crushing it, but your volume goes down significantly. And that's what happened in July. July is where everything went bad. It went very bad in July. You see, my wife just walked in here and it's about to get real dark. So here we go. So in July, we only sold like 500 pairs of shoes. So significantly lower than the 800 pairs that we were selling beforehand, almost 10 fewer pairs per day sold. And the ASP was around 1930, which is the same as it was, a little bit higher than what it was in June. But at this time, I got really, really disconnected from the group that I was in. It wasn't the group's fault in any way. I'm not saying that. It's just that my daughter was growing up, like she's getting older, she's requiring more attention from me, and I felt like I was on my own path. You know what I mean? I was like, this is This is Isaiah's way. What if I can be the one person in the group who's able to have like this super volume shoe model where I'm trying to move as many shoes as I can. We're doing palletized shoes and just crushing it. We're going $1 into $15. I can like make a Goodwill online. Like, and that could be me. That could be my way. And it'd be different than, you know, the way how I've seen, you know, other people do it. It's different than the $20, $30 profits that Nina, Alfredo, and LC get. It's Isaiah's own way of making money selling shoes, right? It's a high volume, high velocity, high sell-through rate, lower profit, sure, lower quality, sure, but like, it's me. It's my thing. And I was just like, I don't need to talk to anyone else about this, because this is me trudging my own path. There's no, like, Nina doesn't do this, so like I don't have to talk to her about it, you know? Tech would not advise me to do this at all. And I knew that if I had a conversation with Tech, he'd be like, dude, this makes no sense. This isn't good for you. You need to raise your profit per item. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, I get that, but I want to do it my way, you know? Like, this is my path. I want to run it this way. And I did that. And July happened. So in July, I had to talk to my supplier. I had to have a tough conversation with them because I didn't have the money anymore. Like, my money had finally dried up and I couldn't afford to buy any more inventory. And I was like, hey, I'm going to have to take a break on buying these pallets because I can't afford it right now. My sales are down significantly. And I was so worried about this because I'm like, the moment I tell them, they're just going to be like, all right, whatever, and swoop the other guy in. I don't know if there was another guy, but like, let the other guy in and I'm out. I'm done. It's over for me. And I show up there and I tell the guy, I'm like, hey man, you know, I just wanted to say to you that I can't buy any more inventory right now. My sales are slow, whatever. He goes, oh, no problem, bro. And y'all don't understand how it felt to hear this dude say this when this is something that I was stressed about for days. For days, I was worried about, man, if I go tell this dude that I can't buy inventory right now, he's gonna kick me out. It's gonna be over. He's gonna get pissed at me because like he has inventory he needs to move. It was like, nah, bro, you're good. Whenever you need 2 pallets, let me know. I got you, anytime. And I'm like, what? I've been stressed about this for this long, and it was this easy? All I had to do is just talk to you? That's it? And he was cool with it. It was never an issue. So in July, towards the tail end of it, we started raising prices. I took everything in my store and raised the price by $10 so I can see if I could get more money out of these items, all right? And because maybe it wasn't that the pallet sucked, maybe it was just that I'm underpricing my stuff. And me having everything at $12 a pair is, how does this feel on your position, by the way? I see you're like nodding over there. You're like, dang, that did happen, huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's like, yep, I remember that. I remember that phase. So, you know, I'm raising prices, and then right after I raised prices, I sold some stuff at the higher prices, and then sales fell off again. Mm-hmm. So I dropped prices. Mm-hmm. I was like, I dropped everything about $8 right after that. And sales got worse. It got worse. So I raised everything by 10, sales were awful. I dropped everything by 8, sales were awful. And then at that point, I just shut down. Like, I stopped talking to my wife. Like, yeah. I felt so much resentment towards everything and everyone. I didn't know what to do. I'd call my mom every single day, and I'm just like, I feel like a failure. I need to get out of this business. I have to figure something else out. I started thinking about other businesses I could start. I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I cannot run my business this way. And I was done. And Tech, and at this time I started getting back into the group and stuff, and Tech was telling me like, hey, dude, you just gotta make it through it, bro. It's okay. Like, you just gotta make it through this phase and it will be fine, I assure you. And I'm like, it's just a summer slowdown. It's slow for a lot of people. That's okay. I just couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it. I was ready to put in applications. I was ready to figure something out. But August came by, and finally, there was some hope. Finally. Sales started picking up a little bit in August, but more importantly than that, I still hadn't bought any pallets of inventory, and I started making more significant changes in the business. I decided that I can raise my ASP. It is possible, because this whole time I believe that I was stuck as a lower tiered seller because of where I lived. I didn't think that they had the $30, $40, $50, $60 shoes where I'm at, but they're here. They exist here. I just didn't know it. I didn't believe it. I didn't want to hear that I can raise my ASP, that I can go to a $15, $20, $30 profit. And what I decided to do was I started looking at like whatnot streams, and I was asking tech questions and stuff. And I was going to be like, you know what? I'm going to give us 30 days. We have 600 pairs of shoes left because we hadn't bought pallets in like 2 months. We have 600 pairs of shoes left. That's enough to do 20 a day for 30 days. If we can't figure this out, what we're going to do next, then we'll do something else. And we have 30 days to figure it out. So this was on August 22nd, I think, something like that, somewhere in the late August. And I told Mariah, like, yeah, if we can't figure this out in the next 30 days, we're gonna do something else, because I can't be out here. Because if I was a teacher right now, I'd have more money than I do right now, for sure.
August?
Huh?
It was at the end of August.
Yes.
No.
Not
at all.
It was the beginning of August.
There you go.
Yeah, it's the beginning of August. So it's probably like closer to like August 10th, 12th, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's been a long journey, y'all. I'm sorry. But yeah, I told her, like, if I was a teacher right now, I'd have more money. Like, way more money. Because if I was a teacher, we live on like, it costs us like $30K to live or so. Teachers in my area make between $40 to $50K per year, give or take. Like, and then Mariah would be working as well, most likely, as a pharmacy technician. So if that's the case, then we'd probably be making combined $70K in income, give or take, something around there. And if we're making $70K in income, living off $30K, and we did that for the last 4 years that I've been a reseller, then we would have more money, you know? Like, and earlier in our relationship, we were living off of like 20, 25K a year, because like our expenses were really, really low. We didn't have Zai yet, you know? So I'm just like, there's no reason that I should be this broke. Like, I have no money, and I don't know what to do, and I don't know why my sales are falling, and I don't know like where to go, where to turn, who to ask. I just don't know. And like I said, I saw some people, you know, selling clothing at higher prices, and I was like, you know what? Maybe we should do that. Maybe that should be our solution. Because if we could figure out how to sell clothing at, you know, $40, $50 an item, and I know I made a whole video like, I don't want to sell clothing on eBay, but I was like, I'm desperate. I need something. And we tried that, and we decided against it. Because at the same time, we also found out that you can sell shoes for $40 too. So instead of trying to buy clothing for $15 that I can sell for $40, we could sell shoes that I buy for $15 and sell for $40. That's the thing too. And like when you watch Tech's videos, you see him going to these flea markets on the weekends and stuff like that, and he's pulling out 200, 300 pieces, 500 pieces of items. And I'm like, wait a minute. If this dude was sourcing and listing all this stuff on eBay instead of doing wholesale, and he's putting up 500 items a week at $20 profit each, like, he'd be making a ridiculous amount of money. So if he could make $10,000 a week potentially in profit on the weekend, then like, why can't I? Is that not possible for me too? And I don't have to make 500K, because I could make 200K. I can make 150. I can make 100,000. And it's just doing what this dude is doing. Going to these flea markets, going to these stores, and just sourcing piece by piece and buying good inventory. And it started with me proving, okay, we used to sell stuff at 12. Can I sell something at $30? And I did. And I did quickly. And I was like, okay, can I sell something at $40? And we did. And we sold stuff at $60 and $100. And we started realizing, no, we're not trapped in this being a low ASP seller. We can be whatever kind of seller we want to be. We've just decided to be this low ASP seller. So like at this point in the game, I think we have like 15, 20 days left. Not 15, 20 days, like 10 to 15 days left until our challenge is at its conclusion. But like things are looking good, mainly because the summer slowdown seems to be subsiding, and also because we're buying better items. So we went back to thrift stores. I changed a lot of my standards, and I'll talk about those in future videos. But we're working to build up this ASP, and there are roadblocks that I will also talk about in future videos to raising this ASP. But like we have something closer to balance now. I realized that if I did 15 items a day at $20 profit per item, I make $300 a day. And 15 items takes what? 2 hours? 3 hours? Whatever it is. 3 hours a day and you can make $300? That's not too bad, you know? And it gives me time freedom too. Because if you're going to list 80 shoes in one day with you and your wife, you best believe you guys are working all day. Because cleaning 80 shoes, if it takes you 4 minutes per shoe, that's 320 minutes. That's how many hours? 5 hours just on cleaning? 5, almost 6 hours just on cleaning. That's going straight through. No breaks, not getting tired, just getting it. That's tough. That's really, really tough. So being able to make potentially the same amount of money we would have been making if we could have made our pallet game work, just listing regular items on eBay that are worth good money and that we can sell for good money, that are in good condition. Oh, one last thing. Standards. I am only realizing this now, but I had such low standards for the inventory I was listing. I never had a store that I was proud of. I'd always be ashamed of my store because like, yeah, I sell shoes to people, but like I don't, and I sell a lot of shoes and my customers are happy and this, that, and the other, but like they're not good shoes. They're not shoes I'm proud of, you know? And being able to get higher quality, great condition shoes where I could, if someone says, hey, you sell shoes online, and I can just pull out my phone and be like, here, get a pair for yourself. They're excellent. Like that was something that I was interested in. And I'd never been interested in that before in my business. So hopefully this story has been informational to you guys. Hopefully it's valuable to you. Hopefully you appreciated it. Kind of poured my heart out to you guys, but hopefully we're on the other side of this. But if we're not, and I'm gonna be a teacher, then I will talk to you guys about that as well. But I appreciate y'all. Hopefully provide more value to you. I'm gonna talk to you soon. Peace.